president doesn't get to pick.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Where's my calendar?
Thank you very much.
Moving on to the consent calendar, items 2.1 through 2.3, I'd entertain a motion to adopt. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Could we please?
I do have a little
Oh,
discussion on one item here. I have a question for city managers regarding the adoption of the personnel rules as applied to beach personnel. In reading the
Imperial Beach, the city personnel, not just beach personnel.
city personnel, all city.
at the beginning of it, the city of Imperial Beach personnel. Okay, that was my comment.
Okay.
It applies to all personnel.
Yeah.
Not a problem, Mr. King. So we have
That's the one question I could answer.
a motion and a second on the floor. Could we please vote on items 2.1 through 2.3?
Motion carried unanimously.
Moving on to item 4.1, Mr. Brown.
Mayor, Council, this is the second reading of the ordinance to regulate the use of news racks. You pretty much went over it last meeting. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to respond.
Thank you. From council, do we have any questions on this item? Like you mentioned, it is the second reading. Ms. Hall, do you have any speaker slips on this item?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. In that case, entertain a motion to adopt resolution number, oops, I got the wrong one here. I apologize. I would like to entertain a motion to dispense with the second reading. Oh, first I have to ask for the city clerk to read the title of the ordinance.
Ordinance number 2010-1108, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Imperial Beach, California, amending Title 12, Streets, Sidewalks, and Public Places to add Chapter 12.76, News Racks Affecting Public Safety, to the Imperial Beach Municipal Code.
I'd entertain a motion to dispense with the second reading and adopt ordinance 2010-1108 by title only. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Could we please vote?
Motion carried unanimously.
Item 5.1, declare the public hearing open. Mr. Brown?
Mayor, Council, several weeks ago you received the annual report on the BID. This is the public hearing in which you'll set the rate for the assessment, and it's the same assessment that has been in existence since the start of the BID.
Do we have any public speaker slips in this item?
No, Mr. Mayor.
I appreciate Ms. Hutchins and Mr. Osborne for being here representing the Chamber and the Business Improvement District. Do we have any questions on this item from the council at this moment? Close the public hearing. Entertain a motion to adopt Resolution 2010-6962. Motion is second. Any further discussion? Could we please vote?
Motion carried unanimously.
Moving,
One comment I might add to this.
please.
Where it discusses the areas that funds are to be used under acquisition, construction, maintenance, parking facilities, is I don't see anything about bicycle racks. Would that be included as part of parking facilities as we?
I believe under the BID ordinances they could. I mean, when they came forward with us with their program for the next year, that wasn't included. But perhaps, I believe you're our chamber representative too, are you not? You might mention it to them at one of their meetings, and they could perhaps include it in a future one.
I will.
So,
Thank you.
not a problem. Moving on to item 6.1, Mr. Brown.
Mayor, Council, you can see that Mr. Levine and Public Works, through a contractor, have been busy, and you've probably seen it on the streets, repairing the wet well and manholes. We proceeded to get repaired one of the manholes that were not in the contract, and so we'd like to get the additional money to actually get done that which was in the contract, and the error was ours.
And it just means that we repaired a manhole a little earlier than what you're saying,
Right.
before its time was necessary,
Right.
perhaps, but it still would have to been done in the future.
Eventually, yeah.
Okay. Do I have any questions for staff on that?
Yeah.
Mr. King?
I was just curious as to what was really entailed in these repair of manholes. I was looking at the cost per manhole, and seems like it must be some extensive work. I was just curious if you might be able to explain so we could understand.
This particular manhole was to be completely replaced. They were pulling out the cone and the chimney and redoing the base, which we call the bench. This cost that we're asking for is to cover the cost for the manhole that was done. The one that they what they were supposed to do is more expensive than that one because it's a bigger manhole. So they did a smaller manhole, so the cost isn't quite the same. But they had to dig everything out, drop a whole brand new system inside.
Those manholes, they go down about 15 feet or something like that?
This one was an 8-foot manhole that they replaced. The one that they are supposed to replace is almost 12 feet.
Deep.
So they change deep, yes. Front the invert. You know what I mean by the invert, I'm sure. No. Okay. Basically from the bottom of the manhole to the elevation, the street level.
Okay.
So yeah, they can range. Some of them are 20 feet deep. It depends upon
The topography and
where we are in the city.
I see.
This one here is just right out here, past 8th Street on Ivy Boulevard.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I really wasn't familiar with what that process was and what was involved. Thank you.
Most of those are not this extensive. Most of them were just cleaning and lining, but this one happened to be one that was called out to be replaced.
By lining, what is you refer to?
There's a product that you clean all of the debris off and the corrosion corrosion off the concrete cone and chimney. Chimney is a smaller area that goes to the street from the cone. The cone widens out like a cone, I guess, to fit the base of the manhole. The surface of that concrete is taken down to good solid concrete, and then there's an epoxy or a material like an epoxy that seals that concrete so it stops the further erosion, so we don't have to do what we did with the one and replace it. Should extend the life of them. We're doing the same thing on several of the wet wells to try and extend those lives.
Oh, great. Thank you so much.
Any other questions? And I do like to comment because it was interesting. I was trying to figure out what you were doing in our little city here because there was a lot of construction going on in the middle of the streets. And now we have it on our agenda because obviously we approved this project quite a while ago. And it was like, well, what are they doing tearing up all these streets? But that's what we are been.
There are 53 manholes that we are repairing. This is the only one that had a complete replacement. Unfortunately, we picked the wrong one to make the error on.
Okay. But I mean, I see a lot of work, and obviously it's something that's maintenance that we have.
There's
to
also
continue to do.
six wet wells that'll be replaced. And in fact, if you're down in the Seaside Point neighborhood on Oneonta near 5th, there's